One. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the J and J podcast. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Super excited to have everybody here. We are upgrading things in life. We're very thankful for all those things going on. The purpose of this show, I don't know why it does that. We got to figure out why it does that.
So we've started, this is our fourth episode.
Well, what episode number are we on right now?
Hold on a second. Oh, I know why it does it. After it goes, that's why it goes. Okay, we got to stop that because that can't happen anymore. These technical difficulties. We're on the 7th episode. And
maybe we'll do that in the theme song. We'll put that part in the theme song once we get a theme song going.
How about no? I don't even want to hear that anymore. I don't even want to hear my voice. Anyway, guys, super excited you guys are joining us. Everybody who's joining us on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, and Facebook, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope your Thanksgiving as well. We are competing with the football game that's going on right now at the moment. But we're going to talk about some interesting things tonight. First off,
football game's going on.
I don't even know, to be honest. I know Washington was playing.
The Packers beat the Lions today.
That's usually what happens every year.
I know. So do you think we're in a simulation?
All right, let's get into the stories of what we're going to talk about. Because the Packers beat the Lions is normally what they do.
Yeah, because then it's a simulation. Like, that's it. No matter what happens, Jared Goff.
I mean, it always happens. So we're going to talk about Biden turning 81, taking a bizarre photo.
I thought that was ranked low. Who cares about the guy, dude?
Who, Biden?
Yeah,
it is ranked low, but I'm just going to bring it up because I want to talk about it. We might not even get it to everything today, but Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, back in the driver's seat after extensive board drama. That is going to be a case study on leadership and the most important things you need to learn about leadership, running a company. Andrew Tate, interviewed by Piers Morgan. Tate explodes at Piers. We're going to get into that. Retirement surge in Congress. Argentina elected a new president who declares war on shit leftists. Jeff, have you seen Argentina's new president?
Oh, yeah, all the time, man. Gave me hope of me being president, man. I can bring a chainsaw to get him.
So you did see that. Okay, we're going to get into that. That's going to be
a lot. It's hard not to see that guy, man.
Yeah, I know. Israel-Palestine war. So Israel wants to seize Gaza's multi-billion-dollar gas field. Also, a ceasefire has been called, and there will be a release of hostages. So we'll get into that. We're also going to talk about Forbes publishing an article on how to decenter whiteness in your workplace. Got to talk about that. Then the Canada-U.S. border attacked by a car with explosives. Did you see that, by the way, Jeff?
Yes.
You did see that?
It was on PVD's podcast.
And then MSNBC anchor says Trump will execute people if he gets elected. So we have a lot to talk to today. But Jeff, first off, how's your Thanksgiving going?
Good, man. We got all the CLC assistants, the whole staff together, and we said I told them what I was grateful for each one of them, and them working overtime, and because they worked this Thanksgiving in the Philippines before I got there, and then they said what they were grateful about each other, and it was a really good moment today. That was probably my favorite moment on today. And then I went to in Midtown Miami Sugarcane. That's the Thanksgiving dinner. Angela of Empower Her Money podcast was like, don't do that. And then I met a guy down here who I told him about YPTV that I'm going to be on. And so I'm going to be the Ryan Seacrest.
What does YPTV stand for? What is YPTV?
Have you heard of it or no? No, you will. It's Your Podcast TV. And so they're going to be streaming the live top rated podcast on it. And people are accepting it. And so I'm going to have a space on there. And I'm going to tell me which one you think is the better title. Podcast recall, podcast recap, or podcast request or something. And I'm going to basically this is Jeff J with the podcast recap on the top 3 podcasts you need to listen to today. We're featuring one upcoming, and we're going to look at the podcast charts. So I'm going to do it kind of that way towards podcast on the lunch hour.
I guess the podcast recap would make the most amount of sense. Recall sounds like you're trying to
recap. I had a different name for it, podcast. So I just need a cool name for the show. It's 28 minutes, and I can put sponsors on it, and I can feature this show if I want because it's my show. As long as it's okay.
Fantastic.
Producer Donnie. Donnie's an interesting man. So.
All right. So it sounds like you've had a very interesting Thanksgiving.
Very work. Everybody said don't work on Thanksgiving. So guess what I did?
He worked. Great.
If you
All right, so I want to get into first.
By the way, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. I spent it with family, ate a lot of food, had too much to drink, but not enough to drink, if you know what I mean. So
I bought wine. I want to have a glass of wine for this. That's why I bought it, just for this, not for a lady or anything.
Well, I mean, so have a glass of wine as I pull up the next story. This first story is going to be this that I'm going into. I just want to briefly touch on, and we're going to move on to the next story, which is Sam Altman. But this one that I want to share, I just got to share it. This is kind of an older story. So our boy, President Joe Biden, had a rocking birthday on Monday. And have you seen the picture?
I have seen the picture. Where did I see this? Yeah. There's
So
Andy Selly's podcast.
So President Joe Biden had a rocking birthday on Monday. First, he got to pardon 2 turkeys and somehow managed to confuse Taylor Swift for Britney Spears in the process. That evening, he got to ring an 81 with a cake. An old man eating birthday cake is probably one of the safest things that can happen, and yet the president somehow turned into the scariest photo he's ever taken. No, dude, what article is this? Joe Biden's birthday cake was a fire hazard. So listen, the only reason why I want to bring this up is this is a marketing thing. So there's no reason really to share this. Biden has another birthday. We all have birthdays, but it's something just to share. What they shared was this thing looks like a giant cupcake on fire, and he is gripping the table as if he is scared and trying to take a picture.
I would be scared too if I was him. I'm sure he only wanted little kids and call names to, make some racist comments, and yet they're giving a cake on fire.
Listen, I'm not trying to heap any hate on our president here, but I think their marketing team needs to learn how to maybe just put an 8 and a 1 candle instead of, is that do you see that? Is that 81 candles, Jeff? Do you see that all around?
You see that?
Look at all those candles.
I don't know what they're doing. I think this is the way to try and get rid of Biden. They were trying to kill him before they put Newsom on.
Who said it was a good idea to go, hey, listen, we're going to put 81 candles on this fucker, excuse my French, and light it and see what happens? Because that's insane.
They don't demonetize swear words anymore on YouTube, do they, or no?
No, it's okay. And I don't want to be too vulgar, but sometimes it just, you got to drop an F-bomb every once in a while. Sorry, Dad. So let's get into the next story, which I think is something that we should talk about and spend a little bit of time talking about, because I think this is a case study. I want to hear your thoughts. I'm going to recap it. I want to hear your thoughts, and I'm going to say my thoughts. And I want to talk about winners and losers to this story, because who won, who lost in this scenario. So we're going to get into the next story, which is really, to me, one I think an interesting case study in leadership. And really what it has to do is on our boy, Sam Altman. Maybe not our boy all the time, but he returns as OpenAI CEO after days of infighting at AI startup. This is an NBC News story. So what's happening is, in case you guys missed it, what happened is, we're not going to watch that, but what happened is Sam Altman was ousted by his board, said he was going to start his own company. Then what happened? All of the team members, 500 of them, I think, said, hey, we're going to go with Sam. We're going to leave the company. And then the board was like, whoa, we want you back, but we don't want you back. It was insane. So let's recap it. So Sam Altman is back as the chief executive of OpenAI. The hot tech startup behind ChatGPT said late Tuesday that Altman and the board of the nonprofit group that oversees the company came to an agreement in principle for Altman to return as CEO, with the new board to replace the one that ousted him Friday. Altman's return should quell what was an all-out revolt by OpenAI employees against his removal, and mark the beginning of the end of one of the most watched corporate sagas in tech history. The ordeal began Friday when the board of the nonprofit group that oversees OpenAI said it removed Altman as CEO and concluded that he was not consistently candid in his communications with the board, hindering its ability to exercise its responsibilities. So to be clear, this is the reason why they wanted to get him out. They said, hey, he was not consistently candid. That word consistently is important in his communications with the board, and that was hindering its ability to exercise its responsibilities. In other words, we weren't getting enough information from him. We didn't know what to do, so we're just going to fire his ass. Over the next week, OpenAI turned into some combination of Succession and Silicon Valley. The company appointed 2 different interim CEOs. How do you feel about those guys, right? Oh, I want to be the new CEO. No, you're not. Now this guy is. No, you're not. Altman appeared to have joined Microsoft. This was nuts, by the way. Only for that announcement to be walked back. Deadlines for negotiations about Altman's return reportedly came and went, and employees threatened to resign en masse. OpenAI said on X that its new board would be constituted with 3 initial members. Former Salesforce CEO Bret Taylor, former White House advisor and Harvard University president Larry Summers, and Adam D'Angelo, the CEO of the website Quora and a former early Facebook employee. We were collaborating to figure out the details. Thank you so much for your patience through this, the company said on X in an unsigned post. So D'Angelo already was a member of the OpenAI board, but other previous board members will not remain. The outgoing members include tech entrepreneur Tosh McCauley, OpenAI chief scientist Aliyah Sutskever, and Helen Toner, the director of strategy and foundational research grants at Georgetown University Center for Security and Emerging Technology. The board members never gave specific details behind their decision to remove Altman as CEO, other than their statement Friday. On Saturday, OpenAI's chief operating officer sent a memo to OpenAI employees calling Altman's ouster a surprise. We can say definitively the board's decision was not made in response to malfeasance or anything related to our financial business, safety, or security privacy practices, he wrote. And then on Tuesday, the New York Times reported that the board had been bickering for more than a year over questions about the safe development of AI, including how quickly to roll out the technology while ensuring humans do not lose control of it. Altman was on the side of moving quickly, the newspaper reported. Altman said in a separate statement on X that he was happy to return as CEO. I love OpenAI, and everything I've done over the past few days has been in service of keeping this team and its mission together. When I decided to join Microsoft on Sunday evening, it was clear that it was the best path for me and the team with a new board with, let's see if we can get to this. With Satya's support, I'm looking forward to returning to OpenAI and building our strong partnership with Microsoft. All right, so I don't want to get too much more into the weeds in the story because this has been an interesting story. But first off, winners, losers, Jeff. What do you think? Who's the winner here? Who's the loser here?
Well, as we go on Facebook Live, the very quick winner is Sam Altman. Sam Altman proved his leadership. Anytime if you leave a company or 700 people want to follow you, you're doing something right. The losers is the board. A lot of times, this one thing I got educated about is if you have an uneven amount on the board, you should have 7 or 9. They had like 4 or 6. They voted some people out. And Sam Altman, the one thing I learned, one of the big things that Kurt, one of the VCs, one of my friends, Kurt Walker, I think it's called Y Combinator. It's a tech startup where they fund all the biggest tech startups. Like back when I had my software, Josh, and I was pitching out, people told me I should go to I forget how you say it. It's Y something. But anyway, it's basically Sam Altman was a part of that company, and he walked away from that, and that company's going down now. They basically, it's a bunch of people that fund startups. You can look it up. But anyway, my whole thing is I actually went back and watched the Joe Rogan, Sam Altman podcast with Joe Rogan. Realized because I was like, you know what? I didn't do enough research on this guy. I did kind of what hearsay and what people spread. So let me actually see him in a full length out talk. And then I could realize, man, this guy is one of the visionaries of OpenAI. And if anything, the winners are Microsoft here, because Microsoft now has stronger ties. Instead of them basically Microsoft was the biggest shareholder. They put billions into OpenAI to say, hey, we're going to be part of it. When Sam Altman's out, they're like, hey, let's go build the whole thing. And they almost got 700 employees. And so now what do you think? If you're Sam Altman, you're about to lose your job. Did you see the tweet picture of him with the guest pads? He's like, the last time I'll have to use a guest badge at my own company I helped build. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
No. It's on Facebook. It's an iconic picture, and people were taking a meme and putting like a different like Pokemon card and stuff in it. But Sam Altman, he literally went to Twitter when he went there the next day after the board displaced him, and he posted it on X and said, man, it's the last time I have a company I built, I had to use a guest badge to get in. Imagine that. Like, I built Change Life Consulting. We have a whole firm. We're in there. I bring on a board. I bring on you as a board, Josh. I bring on Adam Weitzman. I bring on Albert Preciado. I bring on Arturo as a board. And then because I'm all flying around the world like crazy, okay, you're like, you know what? Jeff has been around here in Change Life Consulting, and somebody else votes him out. And Arturo's like, we got to get him out. And next thing I come back and I can't. And that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, so it's a good recap, and I think it's very clear who the winners and losers are. Winners going to be Sam Altman, and losers are going to be the members on the board. But I want to dive into this because I think this is a good case study of leadership. This is something that is very, very important. You just mentioned something really important, right? You said, if I built a board and I had Albert Preciado on and I had Arturo on, and they decided to vote me out, what's the reasoning? Why would they vote you out? Right. So Sam, even though he had a lot of good things happen, bad things happen, he needs to take a hard look in the mirror and say, I am responsible for the reason why the people that were on my board wanted to vote me out. They said it was because of a lack of communication, hindering the responsibility to move forward. Whenever it comes down to breakdown in relationships, Jeff, you can mark this on your wall. You could write this on your wall, and it'll be forever until the end of time. Whenever you want to say, what is the bad thing that happens with a relationship? It is lack of communication. Whenever there is lack of communication, what tends to happen is relationships fall apart. The less you communicate, the more the relationship will fall apart. So there was chaos. And what has happened, and what I noticed what has happened, is when a leader is very passionate about their vision and people believe in them, sometimes they tend to ignore certain things that are important. A lot of that is slowing down. If you notice, one of the things that they cited was he was too quick to move forward. Now, if anybody wants a company to grow, they want the company to grow and move forward. Reading between the lines, what I believe is they're saying, he didn't communicate with me. I didn't feel special. I didn't feel important. That's why we're voting him out. So Sam comes out the clear winner after all this drama. But I think Sam needs to look in the mirror and say, listen, what happened with my board? Why did they feel this way? And how can I prevent that from happening in the future? Something that is awesome, that is also that like sprung out to me, was the fact that there was the number was inflated over the weekend, but 300 to 500 employees said, we will leave and join Sam Altman. That is somebody who painted a vision, which we don't even know what that vision is. But those 300 to 500, however the number is, employees knew what the vision is, believed in him so much that they said, we are willing to leave. We don't like the people around the board who are making this decision. We're willing to leave and follow this guy. That is what true leadership is, because even if you disagree with what Sam Altman is doing, he is able to recruit a group of people, 300 to 500 people, who are saying, we're willing to leave our security to go follow you because we believe in you more than the people that voted you out. By the way, there was more people that voted him out than Sam Altman, right? So I think what Sam needs to learn from this is, number one, his vision is clear. He's doing the right thing. Whatever he is doing with AI.
You know what AGI is?
We'll get into that in a moment. Whatever is going on with that, he believes in it and people are following him. But the thing that he needs to do is look in the mirror and say, the people who are around me, my supportive people, don't believe in me. And there's only one person at fault, and that's Sam. Sam needs to take a look in the mirror and say, why don't these people believe in me? Or what did I do to cause them to try to turn against me? And that is a scary thought. And every leader is always going to have that. They're always going to have people who want to turn against them. But for me, I think those are the big takeaways when it comes to Sam Altman going back and forth. And please speak about Open AGI, you were going to say.
So yeah, if I could just pull it up just to kind of stay on the same path before we move. I know it wasn't on the agenda. If I go to Google Chrome, right here, open it. All right, right here. So is AGI, so it's what it is it's like the next version of OpenAI. A breakthrough caused the OpenAI drama. So the speculation began immediately after Friday's sudden dismissal of OpenAI. Sam Altman, the board, gave little reason to firing Altman other than he'd been less honest with the board members, but honest about what exactly. One of the popular theories on X post was their unseen factor heading in the background, animating the players going on the drama. The possibility OpenAI researchers have process further than anyone knew towards artificial general intelligence, AGI, that is AI capable of carrying out a wide variety of tasks better than humans can perform. Developing AGI, after all, is OpenAI's main goal per its mission statement. So AGI is exactly like the scariest AI that is going to come out, kind of in a way. Reports of the week on unnamed sources. Just going to go through in here. Success. But what it still seems that there should be something to be worked out between the board and CS. This is what happened before. But I noticed as I was on Twitter or X, there were a lot of things. That's the problem. Transparency developer points out the release of ChatGPT 2 was the last time OpenAI was open and transparent in the latest model, enough so the developers could research paper. So ChatGPT 3 is when there was 3 types of learned stuff. That's why it came out with 3. They had a teacher, student, and then it changed everything. Now it codes on its own while we're talking. This is what's going on. So developers could read the research paper and then recreate the model, but that was 4 years ago. That was the same year Altman led the creation for-profit, aka cap-profit organization, and OpenAI structure in a general sense. For-profit AI's campaign have a better chance of attracting investment money if they don't give away their IP on GitHub. Since 2019, OpenAI has grown more competitive and more secretive about the details and models. If an OpenAI system has achieved AGI, its researchers' path to it, implications. Did you see the part when threatening to quit? So then this is before. Well, AGI, did you see the part on Joe Rogan's podcast with Sam Altman? And Joe Rogan was talking about how it's cool if everybody trips out and they get all like on drugs. And Sam Altman, did you see this part?
I might have.
Joe Rogan, he reminded me.
Oh, he talks about that.
Yeah, he was getting all like, well, what if we all don't feel anything? We don't reason anything. And Sam Altman was making arguments, made me like Sam Altman. Who knows? They could say one thing, do the other. But that universal basic income isn't good, right? Was his point, right? Like, this is going to happen, or it's going to go after. And he said, well, what do you know if people are like chilled out on Molly and the whole world's doing Molly? This is what Joe Rogan was saying, okay? He's like, we're all tripped out. Then how will anybody know someone's working more than them? And Sam Altman was like going ahead with it because it was on the show, but like, oh my God, where are we going with this? Like, it was kind of funny.
I do remember that.
All right, next story.
So before we move on to the next story, what's interesting about that is AGI is artificial general intelligence, which are basically taking over jobs that humans do. And let me ask you this, Jeff. On a scale of 1 to 10, how scared are you of AI taking over? 10 is absolutely horrified. I think it's Terminator 2 when Skynet takes over. And 1 is like, this is never going to happen.
Terrified. That's why I'm bringing the wine out. Probably a 10, to be honest with you. When I had a software back in 2019 that just messaged people because they said something, I thought it was really cool. I thought that's how it should be used. But then as it went on, I was like, this is crazy if you can actually learn and listen to stuff. Because there'll be no secrets. Nothing will be secretive. There'll be a whole bunch of deep fakes. Everything's going to be out there. I mean, it'll be good because politicians will be able to, they won't be able to lie, you know?
This is the one thing that, the reason why I'm not so scared is human beings have the capability to have emotions and logic. artificial intelligence only has logic. We can teach them what emotions are like, but it's not gut instinct. So I think we might get into some dirty water, and some bad things might happen with AI. But I think the way God created us, we have emotions and logic for a reason. And robots, no matter how much we try and create them, it's going to be very hard to duplicate that emotional mastery, that emotional intelligence.
Well, what if you put a face to it? Dude, what about Westworld? Westworld is really real right now.
So you can put a face to something, but will that robot feel emotions?
I mean, it'll fake like it will.
It will fake it. But because of emotions felt, will it duplicate the same thing that a human being will do?
No, at the end of the day, it won't. It comes to the soul, right? If we believe we have souls, human beings have souls, robots won't.
That's the thing. It comes down to
I've
belief.
seen like those creepy Furbies that would like, they'd feel different ways.
If we program, this is the great thing about human beings. We don't know what it looks like after we die. So there's some type of accountability, even if you're an atheist, even if you turn your senses off and you deny everything about whether there's a God or not a God. You have somebody else at your house?
No, I'm live on Facebook, and Joyce said, "Happy Thanksgiving! So grateful for you.
Happy Thanksgiving, Joyce." So we have a certain impending doom when it comes to what is going to happen to us after we die. Do robots have that? Will they be programmed with that? It's an interesting thing to think about. And that's one thing that helps keep us accountable. We might think, listen, you might be an atheist and think nothing happens to me after I die. There's this slight amount of point, even if you're a complete atheist. There is no God, fuck God, all that, right? 99.999999991%. You're certain there is no God. There's still a part of you goes, dude, I know I'm so arrogant to think that there is no God, but I could be wrong. But you never tell anybody that. Of course not, because you're the smartest person in the world, right? But that's what human beings have. So the most arrogant person still on their deathbed knows, dude, I don't know. Robots won't have that. So how do we program them? How do we program OpenAI? Is there a sense of accountability? And I think that when it comes to leadership, sense of accountability is going to dictate the future of everything that happens. Speaking of dictating the future, I'm going to get into our next story. So our next story is something that I don't know if you've seen, but I think it's worth taking a look at. It's about our boy who is very controversial.
Andrew Tate?
Mr. Andrew Tate. So Andrew Tate was on Piers Morgan, and they had a part 1 and a part 2 interview. The part 1 interview was basically about everything that's happening with him in his court case. The part 2 interview, a large part of it, was talking about the Israel and Palestine conflict. Have you seen any of it, Josh?
So man, I'm shocked right now.
Looked at my name. I just said it. Sorry.
I saw some of the first one, but it reminded me like, every Andrew Tate, I know he's in prison. Piers Morgan's kind of going to be a jerk to him. It could be entertaining, but there's better things to watch. And then I didn't see part 2. And then I did see some of part 2 with him saying, well, I don't know, maybe you're going to play it here.
So this is one thing I'll say. And this people might get pissed at me. I don't mind Andrew Tate. I think he actually says a lot of good things. In fact, I think he's a net positive for men today. There's not a lot of good examples for men. Andrew Tate actually teaches people, if you look at his tenets on his website of like the 40 Tate tenets, they're actually really good principles. Even if you disagree with him, you think he's a misogynist, you think he's the worst person in the world, I challenge you, go read his tenets and go, do I disagree with this stuff? Chances are you probably won't. You'll be like, wow, this is all good stuff. Every man should learn these things. Having said that, Tate has gone through a radical transformation over the past couple of years. And one of those radical transformations is he is converted to being a Muslim. And being that way, he is now, and you can see it.
By the way, do you know what the Muslim name for when you grow out a beard is?
I don't. Is there a name? I didn't even
There
know.
is. It's called because you know how they all have beards. I asked this to Jod. He's one of my Muslim friends. He's does prospecting, really cool kid. And I asked him about it because my beard, I just got a haircut. It's called like I forget. We should look it up after. He told it to me. Or are you gonna play the clip?
I'm gonna play the clip, but like if we're not playing the clip and you're talking, I want them to
Well,
see.
the reason behind it is because, and it was funny because when I was growing out my beard, and I did it from when I was started doing consulting, and I'm 38 now, but I was 34 at the time, and people were saying that, is you thought of that you're more wise and more mature, you know? Beard grown out.
So regardless of that, Andrew Tate has converted to being a Muslim. He, in fact, at the end of the broadcast, encourages peers. I encourage you to convert to the Muslim religion. As he literally says it as he's shaking Pierre's hand at the end. So Andrew's in a tough spot because he is somebody who has strong beliefs on things, and now he has to adopt these certain beliefs. So here's one thing that I noticed. Andrew is a very smart guy. And Andrew, if you're listening to me, you might hate me. It's totally okay. I'm comfortable with that. You're a very smart guy, Andrew. Extremely smart, extremely intelligent. And now since you've adopted the Muslim religion, you now are withholded to their beliefs. And now you have a hard time saying these are the beliefs, and this is what I know logic is, because you're very good at logic. And what's happening is it's very difficult for him to kind of translate what logic and what beliefs are. So let's watch a quick clip and kind of dive into that. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I think it's important to kind of see what is going on. And it's obviously, Tate, you're very popular with whether people like you or not. So let's check this out.
Just collateral damage, and no, this is the thing that's most upsetting to me. This is what genuinely upsets me. Israel intelligence will say a guy's a Hamas terrorist. Has that guy gone to a court of law? Has there been a democratic process? Has he been proven to be a terrorist? No. They've just decided from their intelligence that couldn't see an invasion coming from hundreds of miles away. So this intelligence is actually it's not great. No. So they've decided this person might be in intelligence without court case, without any kind of democratic process, and because of that, they've decided to annihilate civilians along with him, and it's all just collateral damage, and nobody should care. That is not a humanistic perspective, and that is disgusting. And any person in the West who is advocating for that is a hypocrite. Because if it was turned on them, if the American government said, we think the person in your shopping mall, one of the people you were shopping alongside in the mall, might have committed a crime. We didn't take them to court. We think they might have, so we killed your whole family. Get over it.
So the last time
is a clown and a hypocrite.
So the last time.
What do you expect full-grown men to do?
I'm about to respond.
What do you expect full-grown men to do when you kill all of their families and leave them locked in an open air?
So that's Andrew. Like,
I didn't see that part.
Yeah. So the second part is him just saying this. So what was happening is, and one thing that I found very interesting, and it's unfortunate because I think Andrew's a smart guy, but he's putting his back's up against the wall here. Piers Morgan was saying, do you condemn what happened on October 7th?
I saw that.
And he just basically, he asked him the question so many times, and Andrew was not saying no. He's like, listen, I'm not condemning it. I'm not going to. But he wasn't saying it. He was skirting the question. And honestly, Andrew's a smart guy. Piers is a smart guy. And Andrew was finding a way to not answer the question. That's an interesting question. And would just skirt around it. Because Andrew's smart.
Which is Andrew, he normally answers straight up, you know?
Right. So Tate's smart. But he knows that, listen, if I condemn what they do, I'm condemning something that I'm adopting to my Muslim religion. So I cannot do that. So he has to play the side of, and he does a very good job of it. But here's the thing. He resorted to saying, I just want people to stop dying, which is what Trump said, right? I just want people to stop dying. And Tate kept saying that. That's one thing that I think we need to lean on, whether you are pro-Palestine, pro-Israel, pro-Hamas, whatever it is.
How about pro-life?
Yeah. I think we need to say, hey, listen, I just want people to stop dying. How do we get to that point? How can we get to that point?
Why are we with you? Why are we like, and I mean this, and Adam said this on the podcast today. You see him say, what's going on with Chicago? We're not worried about, did you see him go off on that? He went off today. And also, I know it's like, oh, wow, I said the same thing. And then what's going on with Ukraine and Russia? Is that war over? Or is this just more of a
going on? But it's not getting as much publicity.
By the way, there's probably children and people dying there. There were originally when it came out. I remember seeing it all.
So the interesting thing is what happened was there was this narrative that Ukraine was winning, but Ukraine was never winning. If you actually looked at the math of what was going on, is Russia outranked Ukraine like 100 times to 1. But since we sent Ukraine,
what's winning in war? That's killing more people. Like that's what winning is.
Unfortunately, yeah. Or gaining
that's fucked up though. You know what I mean? Like we've gotten to a point of such civilization that winning, this isn't risk. You know what I mean? Where I come over and do that, you know?
So yeah, exactly. So what was happening is the narrative was like Ukraine is winning the war. But what was happening is Russia was actually winning the war and Ukraine was overwhelmed, which is the reasoning why Zelensky kept on asking for more money. But the narrative is Ukraine is winning, and they weren't winning, and they're probably losing horribly right now. I don't even know what's going on. We should look into that.
That's my whole point. Actually, I'll look up that article right now because we're spending all this time because this one's we can get people more divided on this one. The Ukraine, Russia, there wasn't enough to divide people. So we just kind of did it. There's a ton here. So we can. Did you get to the part in PBD's podcast where Adam and Vinny was saying they can't get Trump on enough stuff, so they're just trying to. And Patrick said the one thing is get rid of him.
I don't know if I watched that part.
And Vinny was like, they've tried everything. You think they're going to try the whole same thing again of the whole pandemic, which they already are. I didn't put it in there, but already in there. Ukraine war. I'm going to just search it and see.
So before we get into that, we can bring that up in a moment. What I want to talk about right now is because we're talking about Israel and Palestine and everything that's going on, is there's a ceasefire going on right now. And this is one thing that I think would be interesting to bring up to Andrew Tate, is that like, listen, there's a ceasefire going on right now. And for every day there's no more ceasefire, then Hamas will release hostages. So I know Israel seems to be going overboard, and that's the whole thing, right? Israel's going overboard. They're completely going overboard. That's the whole narrative. And they're killing people. However, Hamas could end this by just releasing hostages. Because they said every day that there's a ceasefire, they'll release 10 hostages. So why isn't Hamas giving it up? If they want to end this, here's
the thing. And listen, I hate to be the third guy sitting here in Miami commenting on people when they're losing their life, right? Just doing that. But at the end of the day, this is what I personally believe. Okay. If I was president of the United States, I believe this was a whole inside job. I believe there was oil in Gaza, and I believe America to get Biden elected or whatever going on, let this whole thing happen with intelligence. Because, and you can look this up, like you're like, oh my God, there's so many demonic videos of kids behaving. There's how do they get those videos, right? CNN and all these videos that we see and they're shared. The people like were paying for those videos to broadcast them. Don't watch this. Oh my God, look away. Like this is as old as it can, where they like play the replay when someone gets hurt. Only way worse because it's people's lives and it's straight up evil, and they're putting out there to justify. They had to make this evilness with Hamas, a terrorist group that was run and we funded and we gave money to, gave them a whole bunch of guns, left stuff in Afghanistan. Now they go do exactly what is done. And Elon Musk said it best. Israel should do kindness, really, because what Hamas wants is that they go hide in their tunnels. They have everybody bomb and kill civilians. If they're really a terror group, they win by this whole annihilation.
It sounds like you're saying that this is over like gas and oil.
Every war, once the smoke stills, you go look at Ukraine and Russia, something about oil in that. Go look at weapons of mass destruction, oil about this. We didn't hear it right away. Oh my God, it's terrorist, Israel, Palestine. There's all of a sudden reports that aren't being mainstream about Gaza, that there's some oil plant and we're going to work with Israel to get it out and everything. And they're saying you can't have our oil. Every single war that we get outside of America on is always about oil. And yet we stop fracking and drilling in America and doing energy resources and green hydrogen and climate control, whatever you want to say that's even in America. And yet we go out, we fund millions and billions of dollars to other countries for oil. And it's time and time again. It's sickening. It has to stop. And if I become president, it'll stop.
So that's one of the new narratives that I haven't heard about this whole Israel-Gaza thing being about oil. I agree with you on the surface. That's what it's about. But my opinion, why every war starts, people say it's religion, it's oil, whatever it is, it's all about ego. Every war is about ego. Who's bigger? Who's better? I am, because my belief is this in my family, in my religion, in my life.
You don't think money's a part of it?
Ego. Who cares about money? It's all about me. At the end of the day, it's me. It's what my self-importance is. Like, take away all materialistic possession. Why do human beings do the things that we do? It's a very important thing to think about, because how are you to influence somebody if it was about oil? Are you going to actually get them to influence them to say, hey, listen, for you to stop fighting here because of oil, we're going to do the A, B, and C with oil? That might work on a tactical level, but to influence somebody, you're going to have to speak to them. And you're going to have to probably talk to their ego, talk to who they are, what their beliefs are. You're going to have to find out about them in order for them to come to an understanding, come to an agreement. I think the downfall of most people is what they believe and their death grip upon it, as opposed to saying, hold on a second, let's see what we can do here. And I think that's what happens with wars most of the time. And it's unfortunate because it looks like that's what's happening with Israel and Palestine right now. But just to share a little bit more about that right now. So
are we still on Andrew Tate, or?
No, we're moving on a little bit. And what I mean by moving on is, whoops, I don't know. What are you seeing on my screen right now?
Andrew Tate. I want to see more of it. I got to watch that second part of Andrew Tate's podcast, because I only saw clips of it, you know.
Need to get more professional with this.
Do you want me to go to the next story or no? By the way, quick.
What's that?
Day 639 for the Russia-Ukraine war, so it's still going on.
639. Okay, so a temporary ceasefire agreement to facilitate the release of dozens of people taken hostage during Hamas's raid on Israel is expected to bring the first respite to war-weary Palestinians in Gaza and a glimmer of hope to the families of the captives. After hitting a last-minute snag, the deal was expected to take effect on Friday, a day later than originally planned. Under its terms, Israel and Hamas agreed to a 4-day halt in hostilities. Palestinian prisoners held by Israel would also be freed as part of the agreement. The deal was brokered by Qatar, the U.S., and Egypt, and announced on Wednesday. It capped weeks of fitful and direct negotiations and set the stage for a tense period that could determine the course of the war, which set off by Hamas's October 7th raid. So what's in the deal? Qatar announced that 50 hostages will release in exchange for what Hamas said would be 150 Palestine prisoners held by Israel. Those freed by both sides will be women and minors. The plan is for the hostages, part of the 240 people abducted last month, to be released.
Sucks to be a man.
What?
Sucks to be a man.
Yeah, that's the part of being a man. You just got to be understanding of, like, that's what's going to happen. The reason why is women can produce and the children can grow up and eventually produce.
Yeah,
as well.
It's crazy that, like, even in as crazy and evil it is, we still have like that honor of not the women and children, right?
I remember there was this metal album that said the title of the album was, and I forget. I think it was Remembering Never. The name of the album was Women and Children First, but it meant like get rid of women and children first, as opposed to like saving the women and children. Um, so anyway,
really
the plan. What's that?
It's not really funny.
It's not, but like the reason why I'm laughing about it is metal is so like, oh, we're so angry. Like that's how far you want to take it. That's why I'm laughing at it. So the plan is for the hostages, part of the 240 people abducted last month, to be released and burst throughout the ceasefire. Once the first batch released, Israel expected to free the first group of Palestinian prisoners. So they're both releasing. Those prisoners include many teenage boys detained during a wave of violence in the West Bank in 2022, 2023, and charged with offenses such as stone throwing or disturbing public order, according to a list of eligible prisoners published by Israel's Justice Ministry. This is where the people who are pro-Palestinian have a point. Israel currently holds nearly 7,000 Palestinians accused or convicted of security offenses. Israel said the truce would be extended by a day for every 10 additional hostages released. Qatar said Israel would also allow more fuel and humanitarian aid in Gaza, but did not provide details. Hamas said hundreds of trucks carrying humanitarian aid and fuel are allowed to be enter Gaza every day as part of the deal. Supplies would also reach northern Gaza, the focus of Israel's ground offensive for the first time, Hamas said. So what is your initial reaction to this?
So one thing is Gaza and Hamas are totally different. Hamas is a militant group. I don't even know how big they are, but they're little to the people in Gaza. Okay, this is like
15,000.
Is that how big they are?
15,000. Hezbollah is another terrorist group, and they're 150,000.
Okay, so the whole point is, if they're the ones who started all this, and that's who you're bombing, and now they're still talking, then they obviously didn't get them. Unfortunately, they got innocent women and children. Israel did, to try and wipe out evil, right? If that's the case, I believe it's all for oil. I'm gonna go. I'll go off until I'm wrong on that. Every single war has come off in my history of oil. The oil in the Middle East. It's always been that way. But I believe Israel was just taking out Gaza, not to annihilate them, not out of rage, but really for a deal that we funded Israel for money to get some oil, and they had to. And I believe it was a wink, backdoor deal with Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been in there, who we've been in allies with, and it's all for oil, and it's all to do something else in that. And I could be wrong and stand corrected, but my gut feeling and me, like the wisdom of it that I've always had, tells me like that's what it is. And not that Hamas isn't evil and they're not a terrorist group. They are, okay?
So what's the data that you have supporting that? Or is this just gut feeling?
Listen, what's the data we have about any of this happening? How do we know everything's not AI driven on anything? It's all, it's a news article. And this is why news and me acquiring a press company and going podcasting is huge.
The reason why I said that is if you're about to say like, hey, listen, this whole thing's really about oil, is the narrative that I have not heard. I want to be open to this, but I also want to see some data. If there's things that are going on regarding it, then I want to understand what's going on about that.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes. So good. I'm glad you're bringing this up.
All right, this is the Middle East Eye. Okay, so this is an opinion article. Okay, so I'll make this thing. It's not news, but it's opinion. Israel-Palestine war. Israel wants to seize Gaza's multi-billion-dollar gas field. Sayed Hussein. So this is the guy who wrote it. The conflict has effectively frozen plans to revive a $1.4 billion natural gas project that could have been a win-win for Israel and the Palestine. Our gas is all right. I mean, unless these are all AI-generated things. After October 7th, Palestine fighters attacked, which killed around 12,000 people and led to hundreds of hostages being taken to Gaza, Israel responded ferociously. It has dropped more than 18,000 tons of bombs in Gaza so far, killing more than 11,000 Palestinians, mostly women and children and elderly people, in the relentless airstrikes. Top UN official in New York recently resigned his post, calling the events in Gaza a textbook case of genocide in which Western governments have been wholly complicit. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed his country will not surrender until Hamas is eliminated. As the horrific onslaught enters its sixth week and energy resources could add another layer of complexity on the ongoing war. According to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, significant reservoirs of oil and natural gas have been found off the Gaza Strip elsewhere under the occupied West Bank. The occupied Palestinian territory lies above seizable reservoir oils and natural gas wealth in Area C, occupied the West Bank and the Mediterranean coast off the Gaza Strip. However, occupation continues to prevent Palestinians from developing their energy fields as to exploit and benefits from such asset. The study conducted by the UNCTAD in 2019. In this context, the issue of sovereignty over Gaza's gas field is vital for Israel. So according to 1995, in 2002 wells drilled by the British Gas off the coast of Gaza revealed gas reserves estimated 1.4 trillion cubic feet. 60% of those belong to the Palestinians. In July 2000, the Israel Prime Minister granted BGG security authorities to drill the first well, marine one part of political recognition by Israel that the well was under PA jurisdiction. Opportunity for collaboration. After Russia, listen to this, invaded Ukraine in 2022, Europe tried to secure alternatives to Russian energy supplies and revive the Palestinian initiative to extract natural gas off the coast of Gaza. A hope that the $1.4 billion project involving the Palestinian Authority, Egypt, Israel, and Hamas could launch gas production by March 2024. Such production could have laid the groundwork for a win-win collaboration between Palestine and Israel, but the Israel-Palestine conflict has dramatically escalated in recent weeks and no longer appear on the horizon. The project frozen for the foreseeable future. I'm going to take another take on this after reading this. Instead, on 2019, the war continued with no ceasefire in sight, and as government awarded 12 licensees to 6 companies, including BP and Italy, for natural gas exploration off the country's Mediterranean basin area. The new resource of oil and natural gas.
Point here, because we could continue reading this, but I think we've kind
of.
So,
however, the ultimate objective is not to demolish Hamas or exclude Palestinians from their homeland, but to compensate Gaza's multi-million-dollar gas resources. Israel's defense minister. So here's the deal. We're trying to tank the economy, go into recession, and get everything to rely on the government. Make everybody very poor, the rich poor, they're poor, and get UBI. That's the play. Go look it up. Agenda 2030. It's the play. One world currency, eradicate poverty, which is UBI. It's up there. 45 United Nations signed on it. The reason why, even that this gets all thwarted, if there's any reason that we could even have any oil that's less money and more natural resources with Russia, which guess what? Now we funded Ukraine. So Russians like, F you, America, you're giving Ukraine money, right? Any good talks we had with Russia and their thing. And then on this side now, our foreign talk of talking to Israel, Palestine, where there's oil, now we blow it up between all of them. We fund Israel, all the talks are off, so we can't get any, oil from that point. Or the other take could be at it, that they knew there was oil. America sends a bunch of money and says, go take what you need to do so we can go get that oil well and be in business by 2024.
So what is Hamas creed? Do you know what Hamas creed is?
Yeah, they're terrorists. So, it's kill everybody.
So
it's kind of like, what's his name? Not Volkanovsky, Islam. I want to kill everybody.
Oh, that's
Malkolchak.
Hazmat Kamayev.
Yeah.
So Hamas, part of their creed and one of their tenets is to eradicate Israel and all Jews. So that is their belief. They withhold that as their strong belief. Now, they're recognized as a terrorist organization throughout most of the world. The challenge is there's some people don't think they are, but they are recognized throughout the world as a terrorist organization.
Andrew Tate think they are?
No, he believes, from my surmising, is he doesn't want to say that they are because he believes in what they're fighting for, which I understand. If you're if you're putting yourself in the shoes of Hamas and the reason why they want to eradicate all those, Israelis and all those Jews. But the challenge is this. This already happened. This happened back in World War II. There was a guy named Hitler who tried to eradicate all the Jews. And that was literally his mission. Now, Hamas has a similar mission. They literally say it in their creed, in one of their tenets of like, we need to eradicate all the people. Now, the thing is, I think 50, 60, 70 years ago, longer than that, actually, before World War II, they probably could have got away with it. But what happens is through great pain and experience through that pain and reflection on that pain comes determination. And the Israelis, the Jewish nation, said these two words, never again. And that's what they've been preaching since World War II. Never again. So they are very sensitive to whenever somebody is trying to come after them. So Hamas, who literally says, we want to get rid of you, literally what Hitler said, we're doing the same thing. We want to do it. We want to get rid of you. Not because of why Hitler was doing it, but because we believe you took our land and whatever it is. But regardless, the reasons don't matter. We want to eradicate you. Israel is so quick to respond with just massive amounts of destruction. Because why? Never again. If somebody came in and murdered your whole family, and you told your family, we're never letting this happen ever again, and you passed that along to generations, that when somebody came against your family in the future, like, whoa, we remember what happened. They murdered our whole entire family, killed us in a violent way. We are going to eradicate them even more than they want to eradicate us. And that's the challenge that we have right now. Because whatever Hamas's beliefs are they're limited to the beliefs that Israelis have because of the pain that they have.
Yeah, and by the way, some innocent bystanders in Gaza who probably don't believe what Hamas believes, right? Muslim, but not terrorists in Hamas and believe we need to eradicate. Maybe they went back and forth in that, are the people now getting bombed and now dying and see people dying. So that's souring their look to Israel, right? Israel looks like the bad guy to them.
Well, yeah, and also it's more reinforcing their beliefs. See what they're doing? Oh my God, they're trying to kill all these
Which
people.
is what Hamas wants.
Which makes them
rally people against Israel, 100%, right?
For every person that you kill.
Listen, by the way, it's biblical that people want to eradicate the Jews all the time, from Hitler, from all the things they've always been trying to wipe out, and nobody ever does. And they believe in that if they eradicate it, Jesus can't come back. That's the whole deal, right? So there's going to be an onslaught. This is just the beginning, unfortunately, to do that. But did you see the video that they played on Patrick and David with the guy who did the hate crime who got arrested?
Of the guy, yeah, who basically said, he was, I don't even want to play the video, but basically what he said.
But my point is, so tensions are rising. People are hating people just because the guy is from Egypt. His name's Muhammad. Everybody's named Muhammad, okay? And he's hating on the guy who's selling his business, and he's not leaving him. The guy's just telling him to go away. It's wrong. Okay, there's evil but the guy looked evil. So there's evil on both sides. You know what I mean? So my whole point in saying this is like exactly what they want, what George Soros, with really what everything in these times wants, end of times, not to bring in spiritual warfare, but what really evil wants is this. They want people to divide against each other, right? That's exactly
how do we correct this? I want to get into the next story, but like when we talk about something like this, how do we fix this? Like even if we just take 1% turning towards to fix this, that's how I want to move forward with this. This podcast is about like leadership and what we do in times of chaos. So how do we fix this? I mean, I have an idea, but
yeah, I mean, literally, as simple as it sounds, with every action you take, okay? And it's weird because sometimes if it's indoctrinated for evil, there's serial killers, there's bad people who believe stuff that maybe they don't have a core creed, and that's why certain actions need to be happened, right? But for everybody else, if you leave with the creed, with your values and principles, that, hey, we're going to lead out no matter what, and we're going to shine out light and inspire other people because we have the same common core belief that we want to live just and grow up our kids in our ways, and you grow up your kids your ways, and have understanding for it, and not just hate someone by the context of that we're just Israel, that we're Palestine, that we're black, that we're white. You actually can just coexist, right, in that, which everybody can if you're reasonable and you're not evil and you're not a terrorist group that just wants to take people out. That's how you coexist.
For me, I've said this before, I think it's simple. Make a list of all the people that you would die for, and then spend the rest of your life trying to make that list as long as possible. That's how we become a better, more civilized world. And I think Hamas could do that about Israelis, and I think Israelis could do that about Hamas. Will they ever come to it? No, but I think the stuff, well, I don't know that for certain, but if you were to take somebody and say, all right, who are the people that you would die for? Is there anybody who's Israeli, or is anybody who's a Jewish that you would want to give up your life for? Or is there not? And then ask the Jewish people, hey, is there any member of Hamas that you want to give up your life for? Because what happens is giving up your life for somebody is the greatest form of self-sacrifice, is the greatest form of love. And honestly, I don't think either side would, but I think the self-reflection might be able to break through just a little.
That's what Musk was kind of including too, that don't give Hamas what they want,
Right. All right, so let's get into a more fun story, and that is our boy, Argentina, elected a new president, Javier, what's his last name? Javier Milei. I should know. I didn't vote for him, so I don't know. But our boy.
This guy went viral. By the way, shout out to Sean Pullen. He's the first libertarian. Sean's a libertarian. He said to win ever, all time. This party's been around for I don't know how long.
So this guy. This guy's awesome. Whether you agree with him or don't like him, this is marketing 101, dude. Like, he's bringing a chainsaw to his rally, saying he's going to get rid of the government by chopping them away. It's just crazy. And this is him just yelling at people, dancing. Look at the energy of this guy. Getting people up. It looks like a rock star. Look at him. This guy looks like a rock star. You think Biden could do this? I don't even think Trump could do this. No. He got elected. 56% of Argentina elected this guy. 44% went for the other guy. This is one of my favorite videos. Have you seen this?
This is exactly what Vivek is saying, by the way.
Have you seen this video?
This reminds me of Vivek.
Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género. So if you guys are just listening to this, basically what he's saying is he's at a whiteboard, and this is very smart because this is visual representation of the government. And he's saying, this is everything that's going on in the government right now. And this is what I'm going to do. So he has like these little magnets that are all on the board. He's saying, hey, Ministry of Women, Genders and Diversity.
Diversidad, afuera.
Afuera.
Ministerio de Obras Públicas,
Public Works.
Afuera. Aunque te resistas.
Even if you resist.
Ministerio de Ciencia y Tecnología e Innovación.
Science,
Afuera. Ministerio de Trabajo, Empresa y Seguridad Social. Afuera. Ministerio de Educación. Adoctrinamiento. Afuera. Ministerio de Transporte. Afuera. Ministerio de Salud. Afuera. Ministerio de Desarrollo Social. Afuera. Se acabó el curro de la política. ¡Viva la libertad, carajo!
He's the last part. The thievery of politics is over. And then he says, long live liberty, damn it.
Curro de la política. ¡Viva la libertad, carajo!
So if you see later on, he actually puts out the ones that he's going to keep intact, which are the most basic.
Yes.
Dude, it reminded me of America with all this like USG and all these other crazy programs, you know?
So listen what this says.
The Megan
Al zurdo
Kelly.
de mierda no
Watch
le
this
podés
video.
dar ni un
Pero ¿me
milímetro.
podés definir?
So he says,
Al zurdo de mierda no le podés dar ni un
Starts in it.
Pero ¿me
milímetro.
podés definir
And she
zurdo
goes,
de
"Can you
mierda?
define
que
shit
no
Todos los que,
entiendo"?
digamos, los
All
colectivistas,
collective,
los que
all
ponen,
kind of
digamos, o
collective.
sea, esa idea. A ver,
¿Por qué le
Why
ponés
do
de
you call them
mierda,
shit?
digamos?
Porque son una mierda.
they are shit.
O sea,
Vos mezclás-
no,
pero eso
es que
eso
si
es
pensás,
descalificar, pero no, pero digo,
si
eso es
pensás en
Differently
esto,
from them.
te van a aniquilar.
They will kill
Ese es
you.
el punto. Es
This
decir,
is the
vos al
point.
zurdo
You
no le
can't
podés dar
give
un
leftists
milímetro,
an inch.
porque le das un milímetro y lo toma para
Give them an inch,
destrozarte.
they will use it to
Es decir,
destroy
usa,
you.
digo, o sea, vos no
Can't
podés
negotiate.
negociar con el zurdo.
Of course.
No se negocia. No se negocia con esa mierda, no se
Not
negocia porque te van a
negotiate
llevar
with trash because they
puesto.
will end
Si
you.
tienen un
After
golpeador
the
que caga
Clintons.
trompadas a la mujer, digamos, si es de ellos, ¿me entendés? Se pone el pañuelito verde y grita todo el tiempo contra el neoliberalismo, lo ocultan. ¿Me entendés? O sea, si de repente hay alguien que acosó a una periodista que acosa a otra periodista, lo ocultan. Es decir, a todos los de
Dang.
ellos lo
If
ocultan.
there's a
Entonces,
journalist that molests somebody else, but he believes in what they say, they're gonna hide it. They're gonna
esas
hide
aberraciones
all
la
these
ocultan.
aberrations.
Same thing they do in
Ahora,
America.
si vos estás del
Now, if
otro
you're on the
lado,
other side,
a vos te van a estropear,
ruin you.
te van a matar, te van a dar con lo que sea.
They'll
No
do
les
everything.
importa arruinarte
Don't
la
care if they
vida.
ruin your
¿Por
whole
qué?
life.
Porque no
Why?
pensás como ellos.
Only because
Y
you don't believe
¿sabes
in
qué es
it.
lo bueno de todo esto?
You know, it's
Hay
the
algo
good part
bueno en
of all
todo esto.
this.
Porque como el error es humano,
Since the error
como
is
todos
human,
nos podemos
everyone
equivocar,
can be
¿sabes qué
mistaken.
nos obligan? Nos
It
obligan a
forces
ser
us.
mejores. Y como estamos siendo
We're
tan
getting
mejores con
better than
ellos,
them.
como los estamos
We're
aplastando en la
crushing them in a
batalla
cultural
cultural, los
battle.
estamos pasando de arriba, porque no solo le
We're not
ganamos en lo
only
productivo,
superior
somos
economically,
superiores
we're
moralmente, somos superiores estéticamente,
We're
somos
superior.
mejores en todo.
We're
Y
better than
les
everything.
duele,
And that
les
triggers
duele.
them.
Entonces, como no pueden
They
pelear
can't
con
beat
las
us with real
herramientas
arguments.
legítimas, se
They just
apalancan en el
use the
aparato
oppressive
represivo
apparatus
del
of the
Estado,
state,
poniendo
loads of
torres de
taxpayer
guita
money.
para hacernos mierda. Y aún así no pueden, tuvieron que
They
bajar
have
la
removed
nota,
the blacklist.
tuvieron que bajar la nota. ¿Me entendés? Que están perdiendo, están desesperados, están perdiendo la batalla cultural. Los zurdos de mierda, por primera vez,
For the
se
first
ven
time ever.
acorralados. Los
Cornered.
zurdos de mierda.
So listen,
By the way, they're losing everywhere. Like the left, this whole left woke agenda here. The only place it's winning is in America, which is crazy.
so listen, if you are somebody who watches our show and you're leaning a little bit towards the left, it's totally okay. We welcome you.
As long as you're not far left.
Here's the thing. What he's saying right now is entertaining. He's saying it with passion. He's saying it with conviction. And this girl was like, why do you call them shit? And he's like, because they are shit. This is one thing that some people are afraid to do in life. And it's an important leadership principle, is if you believe in something strongly, and if somebody pushes you and says, no, that's not true, you have a chance to go, well, or no. This time more than ever is now time to double down. He literally went, because they are shit. No, don't do that to me. This is the reasoning why. And he went through and spelled everything out. You can disagree with him or agree with him, but his presentation was a master of being influential to the person who was sitting across from him. And he was like, I'm going to lay this out for you, the reasoning why. Now, I personally tend to believe he's factually right. We've come to a point where the left has gone so far to the point where it's really decimating our economics, it's decimating our education, it's decimating
Everybody except Anthony Weiner.
yeah, it's getting to the
Remember Anthony Weiner was like, they didn't protect me. I'm the one guy. Right?
Boy, our boy Anthony Weiner. So what is your feeling after you watch a video like that, Jeff?
Just, man, same thing I get when Trump. I don't know if I totally endorse the guy and everything, but man, he's right and he's not afraid to speak his mind. That's the same thing I get with Trump. Trump, it's I kind of brace, but I'm like, nah, he's right. At the end of the day, Trump was right a lot. Dude, you can go back and look at a Trump video of him saying everything that he said with Biden's happening now. You can see this guy saying it. I think he's right, man. I think he looks a little crazy in presentation. Good for Argentina, man. Any country that's socialist, you've traveled and been in socialist countries before, right?
I don't think so.
Well, I have, and
what's a socialist country?
I think Barbados is. So I think you have Colombia definitely is. Anywhere that's not in America really is. All the Latin countries are. There's really less.
I disagree. I think Barbados is based on tourism, so it's based on capitalism.
And no, they are based on, well, it is, but let me see. I think it's just in the cities. Let me see. Is Barbados? It got really unsafe, by the way, just recently. Because everything changed.
So we got some more stories to get.
Socialist countries 2023. So actually, this is actually pretty good. World Population Review. This is a whole list.
Right now, pull that up.
Yeah, China. Here we go. By the way, China is more communist. I was just talking to a 75-year-old guy for consulting that. John, where you go? You left. All right. So China, North Korea, Cuba, which Cuba wasn't, Vietnam, Laos. Those are the countries in the world. Afghanistan, Albania, Argentina, former socialistic countries in the world.
You want to share the browser instead of the screen?
Oh my God, you always get so mad about that.
By the way, Screwball, if you ever want to sponsor us, I'm down for it.
Yeah, we got to pitch out to them. That's how you get sponsors. You need a pitch deck. That's the best way to do it. I have a course on it. Following countries are former socialistic countries.
Afghanistan, Albania, Algeria, Angola, Belarus, Benin, Bulgaria, Cambodia, Cape Verde, Chad, Congo, Republic of Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Egypt, Ethiopia, Ghana.
I don't see states currently governed by socialist or communist parties.
Barbados.
There you go.
In many cases, while a country may have become more democratic and or capitalistic and remove references to socialism, communism from their constitution, the ruling political party still operates based upon socialist communist principles. Yeah, because like my initial reaction was like, listen, we went to the Crane. By the way, if you're ever in Barbados, go to the Crane. It's beautiful.
I don't think Barbados is that safe anymore. There's something that happened just recently. Like even
where is safe, to be honest?
Barbados safe. Crime. Most visits are trouble-free, but there have been a few incidents. Okay. That's the thing then. Likely most visitors travel.
Well, they told us when we went there, they're like, just stay in the touristy areas.
Yeah, that's everywhere. That's
honestly, that's everywhere that you should go to. I want to get into this next story because to me, this is an interesting one. And I want to hear your thoughts, and I want to stay as neutral as possible to this, but also I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on this one because this is a doozy. All right, so Forbes recently posted an article, and then it's 3 ways to transform your workplace to be more equitable. In other words, this was originally titled 3 Ways to Decenter Your Whiteness. So this is written by Janice Kassam Asare. She's a senior contributor. She helps create strategies for more diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's your DEI right there. White centering can be thought of as a system that prioritizes white dominant culture to the detriment of non-white groups and cultures. White centering has been given many names, including the white gaze and whiteness as the default, because white centering is often left unexamined and unchecked. Equity and justice have continued to evade organizations. There are an infinite number of ways that whiteness is centered within organizations. A 2004 study found that job applicants with Black-sounding names are less likely to receive callbacks, and nearly 2 decades later, a separate study replicated these findings. The applicant tracking systems that many large organizations utilize to assist with the hiring and the selection process is also rife with bias. A study by Head Start.io examining more than 20,000 applicants found that evidence that legacy ATS, applicant tracking systems, platforms enable inequitable hiring processes that lead to severe discrimination amongst Black and Asian candidates. White centering also impacts the advancement and promotion process in a number of ways. The concrete ceiling describes the additional barriers that women of color face compared to white women when it comes to workplace advancement. 2019 Coco study indicated that 65% of Black professionals feel like they have to work harder to advance compared to their white counterparts. Asian Americans face many workplace challenges and are the group that is least likely to be promoted to management positions, according to a 2018 Harvard Business Review article. So they're saying, what can you do about this? So number one is education. Despite the best laid plans of corporate America, DEI efforts haven't been as successful as anticipated, meaning we need to educate people more about this. So according to a recent Catalyst report that explored workplace racism, whiteness as the default plays a pivotal role in allowing racist behaviors to continue. The acceptance of white dominant culture as the norm leads to the othering of employees that don't meet these standards. The problem is amplified because of the lack of understanding and awareness of how whiteness as system is prioritized in our workplaces. Inviting experts and educators to facilitate learning is paramount. DEI efforts will not be successful if there's a lack of education around how whiteness is centered in the workplace. They'll say objectivity within workplace cultures. There are values, norms, and mores that employees quickly adapt to. These learned behaviors guide our understanding and influence our actions. How often do we stop to interrogate what is considered normal in our workplace and what measures can be put in place so we can actively decenter white workplace norms? One of the best strategies is implementing objective criteria into workplace systems. When evaluating the most suitable candidates for a role or when assessing employee performance, use a rubric or scorecard to gauge the set of core competencies that an individual possesses. Do you have a calibration process in place so that there can be discussion among managers about employee evaluations? Think about integrating objective methods into workplace systems to actively decentering whiteness in the workplace. And lastly, accountability. Huge fan of accountability. Every employee should be responsible for the environment they're creating in the workplace, regardless of an employee's perceived productivity or performance. If they're causing racial harm, they must be held accountable for their actions. Accountability systems are a vital part of an organization's sustainability. In the workplace, the primary way that whiteness is centered is through the acceptance of racist workplace behaviors. Many employees who have experienced racial harm have reported a lack of accountability for the perpetrators. Cultivating systems to hold those who cause racial harm accountable can promote equity, prevent preferential treatment, and create a safer environment for all employees.
Well, at least they gave 3 things to do. You know, you always talk about let's have solutions. They gave 3 things to do. Here's the thing. The one thing I will say, but do you want to start first? Go ahead.
No, I want to hear how you unpack that first.
So here's the deal. There's definitely going to be, there's been a big, long agenda of, you know, just because you're white, you're racist, because you're white, you're privileged, white and everything. And me, even though we came from Italy and part Jewish or whatever we are, whatever, English, Irish, I don't know, you got the mix, the count on it. We come off as white. So then that becomes offensive to me, who then I get clumped in with, oh, all these white racist people, which was a narrative. When Trump came out, they really tried to push it a lot, that there was this there. However, the one thing I will say is me playing on a football team with all Black people and me being in teaching in schools where there's Asian people and Sandy Chow and certain people like that, and hearing different things, I do believe because white people are the majority, I think then the majority get a lot of the benefits. That's what happens, okay? Because they're majority. If you look at the statistics. Now, are sometimes it's unfair? Do sometimes people have bias? Yeah. If you always look at it, people go around their culture. You know, you get a whole bunch of Colombian people who are from Colombia. It's like, hey, get a bunch of people from Connecticut. They're like, hey. And they do get a camaraderie in that. And when that happens, especially in a workplace and you're hiring people for skill sets, I'm sure people get looked over. I'm sure it's not the best. Now, calling it whiteness, that's just ridiculous. It's just a way to really segregate and create more diversity. I don't agree with that. Now, do I agree that people should be judged by the content of their character and not their skin color? 100%. I think everybody would agree with that, or most people. But when it comes to a point of them just writing an article to really just kind of make it look like, you know, just create more division. I mean, that's really what that article, and by calling it something like whiteness, seems like it does. So that's my take.
So I think it's interesting. I think if you were to reverse some of those words and you said blackness as opposed to whiteness, that article would never be published, right? Is why I kept on saying whiteness over whiteness. If I said blackness is preventing this. Now, I want to talk about the positives in that article. Accountability and education are very important things. So accountability should be across the board, fair and even. Now, here's the challenge. There are going to be people who are different colors, different races, different creeds, different religions, who outperform other people. Some may be white, some may be black. But if I'm holding everybody accountable the way that they are, there's a white person who can get fired and there's a black person who can get fired, and good, because they should, because I'm holding them accountable. If a black person didn't show up late to work, if a white person didn't show up late, if they did show up late to work, or an Asian person did, they should be held accountable. I don't care what color they are. How are they performing? What are they adding value to the company with? Now, having said that, there are some things that I think just need to be addressed. And the best way to address them is through my opinion is to share what good old Tom McDonald said. And that is in his song, Dummies. I love the earth, but I really don't want to save it. Classifying people by their sex and race degrades them. Will we still say straight white males are the worst of our population? Guess the labels are okay if they're Caucasian. Our kids are living in their rooms. I swear we barely ever see them. Go outside sometime. There's fresh air you could be breathing. Put your phones down, play sports, do something illegal. Go and meet your families. They're probably nice people. These days, you're a Nazi if you don't hate the police. They say that white folks think all Asian people are Chinese. I'm sorry, what kind of white people you mean? English, Scottish, German, Swedish, or Greek? And one of the things I think, and then he says, Black Lives Matter is problematic. It excludes anyone without the pigment. It's automatic. I understand all the reasons it happened, but including all humans is the actual answer. So
You got
it's interesting to me how we can say white people, but what do you mean by white people? He says that. Like, what do you mean by white people? Do you mean Greeks? Do you mean Italians? Do you mean English? Do you mean Scottish? Do you mean German? Do you mean Swedish? Now we just categorize them as white. Like, it's interesting to me that we do that. And to me, I think what Vivek says, reverse racism is still racism. So if you're just going to write an article and blame it all on whiteness, take out the whiteness, take out the Asianness, take out the blackness, and look at the individual. I don't care what the color of their skin is. The heart, who they are inside, is way more that matters as opposed to what's on the outside. Find out who they are. I don't care what color their skin is. Find out who they are. That's what should be being taught. Find out who they are, and whoever is being a product of society that is helping add value to society is somebody that should be rewarded, and the others who aren't should be held accountable.
Well, I mean, there you go with accountable right there, accountability.
So do you want to bring up any other stories, or do you want me to get into the next story?
There was one I just Googled that you put on the thing. MSNBC anchor says Trump will execute people if he gets reelected.
Yeah, do you want to bring that up?
Yeah, I have it right here. Let me see if I
bring it up.
On the drive. Let me see. Oh, so I got to open it here. Still trying to figure out. This is the Hill. Let me go here. Share. I'm not trying to share my screen. Let me go out of it. So it's Rachel Maddow.
Rachel Maddow.
Dude, how did she ever get famous?
The vaccine stops.
So this is Rachel Maddow. Trump wants to execute us at MSNBC. I was just reading this. MSNBC host still, before she gets out of there, warned a second stint in the White House for President Trump could be dangerous for the corrupt press, going as far as saying Trump wants to execute us. He wants to cancel the news, so they're done. Sarah Haynes, a host of The View, said as Meadow appeared on the weekly Table Talk program Wednesday. He wants to put NBC on trial for treason so he can execute us, Meadow said. Trump last month suggested that the federal government would investigate Comcast, the parent company of NBC Universal, if he is elected president in 2024, blasting the media coverage for the knowingly dishonest Trump collusion, what Vivek called out her for, right? And corrupt coverage of the people, things, and events. The former president regularly ridicules the media generally and NBC specifically, complaining about several of the leading hosts who are frequently critical of him as ideas.
Hold on one second. Where was The Apprentice on?
NBC.
It was, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead.
Trump nonetheless sat for an interview earlier this fall with veteran journalist Kristen Welker. Oh, that's the girl whom tapped to serve as moderator of Meet the Press. Trump is the front runner of the GOP, which is crazy. He's a front runner, but I mean, it's just crazy. They kill him, they do everything, and he's still leading everything. GOP, and they're at least announcing it. They could lie and say he's not. You know what I mean? Try and keep him away. So at least you get the most national polls showing him double-digit lead on the rest of the Republican primary, and he's beating Biden now, which is insane that like he wasn't before. Meadow, who has scaled back to her hosting duties on MSNBC in recent months to focus on special projects, remains a staple of the cable's channel and live coverage and analysis on major events, including Trump's ongoing political and legal battles. So, what's your comments on this story?
So this is my comments. So let's say Trump, war, staying in power by any means necessary, crashing the economy, causing massive riots and racism. Now, if you were to just say that, but take out Trump, but put Biden, war. How many wars that are happening underneath Biden? How is the Biden administration trying to get rid of Trump so they can stay in power?
Michael Rappaport, you saw the video of him saying, man, we're better with Trump. Or whatever he said.
The economy is crashing.
Everybody knows, even I know, even Aunt Nancy knows, who just texted me about Uncle Marty's doing well. I told her we did prayer meeting on Fridays because Uncle Marty, she's like, he's doing love. I love you. Start praying. Even she knows if you take off the glasses, everybody knows you might not like the guy, you might not love the guy. The country is better with Trump. And listen, I'm with you. Trump's a little dictatorship. I'll give you all that. He definitely will put his iron fist out. He'll go blast ISIS. He'll do all that stuff. He has that leadership in him where you could make an argument like, oh my goodness, is this guy a little bit to that? I get you. But guess what? You kind of need that in a president. You need someone who's going to say, hey, we're going to do that. And you don't need Biden.
I agree. I would say this. The things that they accuse Trump of are the things that they are guilty of themselves. So
I know, which is crazy.
A classic example, right? So you're dating a girl, and
it's like when my ex-girlfriend, Natalia, if you're out there watching, hello, she thought I voted for Hillary. When I had WhatsApp on my phone, before I had WhatsApp for my business, and I have my whole team on there. And we're at the Harbor Yard in Middletown, Connecticut, and she grabs my phone. She looks through WhatsApp. Who are you talking to? And I was like, shoot, I hope I didn't hit up like a cute girl back on WhatsApp back in the day. Like I didn't even know what it was. I like downloaded it. I had no clue, right? And there were no messages in there. And she gave me back my phone, like kind of like angrily. And I was like, and I want to be like, did you find anything? Later on, what broke us up as on WhatsApp, she was talking to all her ex-boyfriends and guys. And she was accusing me of something that, even if it was, I was very faithful to her.
So listen, if you're above 30 years old, you have experience what Jeff just experienced, which is what I was about to go to. Somebody is accusing you of something that they are doing themselves. And then you look at it later on, you go, man, you were a hypocrite. Like you were yelling at me Yeah, saying that I was talking.
I know, dude. I remember thinking that. I should
But
sleep one day.
you have been texting this guy, going to this guy's house, and sleeping with this guy, whatever it is. Right?
Doing all that.
Well, I'm saying in general, right? Let's say I'm going through a drive-through, and the girl says, "Hi, how are you?" Whatever, and the girl goes, my girlfriend goes, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm not doing anything. She was just very nice to me." I said, "Hi." She said, "Hi, how are you?" I said, "How are you?" She gave me the coffee, and I went on and moved forward. They're attacking you, saying are you cheating on me? This is what is happening. And I think if you are on the left, you need to pump the brakes, man, because I think most people with a logistic brain are starting to see the tactics. The things that you accuse Trump of and are just constantly, it's so weird. It's like an obsession that they have with Trump. People call it Trump derangement syndrome. I get that. But I just think it's just like an ex-girlfriend. Like if you're not over her, you just keep talking about her. The left keeps doing that. I follow the Democrats. I follow Biden. And I see what they say. Like half of their posts have Trump in it. It's like they're obsessed with him. Talk about the future of the nation. What are you doing? Like when I took over a company, I didn't talk about the former managers. I never talked about them. I talked about them more where we're going. I didn't say, hey, the former managers, they did this and they did that and they did this. This is where we're going. That's the future. That's what leadership is. The things that they're accusing Trump of: war, staying in power, using any means necessary to be a dictator, trying to tear out their opponents, crashing the economy. That is what they're guilty of. We are in 2 wars right now. We're trying to get involved in 2 wars with Ukraine and Israel, and we're on the precipice of World War III. So war, by the way, Trump didn't have any wars underneath his presidency. Oh, and staying in power, he's not going to leave. Oh, he did eventually leave, right? We have this whole January 6th thing. He's not going to leave. Oh, he did leave. Biden's in the White House. Biden's the president right now. But right now, you're attacking Trump, and you're saying, hey, you've done
Biden might not be the one to leave, dude. They're gonna cook something up. Mark my words. As we do this show, we got to do it for 1,000 episodes and thing. We will not see. Yeah, we'll be at like 300 by that time if we do it weekly. We will not see a 2024 election. We won't get to it.
Jeff keeps saying we won't see a 2024 election. Put in the comments. Do you think we're going to see a 2024 election? Like seriously, say, hey, yes, we are going to see a 2024 election.
They're trying everything to not do it. There's something coming. I just feel it. I don't know how, and I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I'm reading. So
let's get into this last story.
Yeah, by the way, I just read, and we can go over this next time. It's not really much, but Putin basically insulted that it's a tragedy that Gaza is getting the strip of Gaza, and basically was like, we offered peace deals with Ukraine. They don't even say hi, so we're gonna keep going, And Ukraine doesn't say peace deals. It's not funny at all. This is war, right? But Putin is basically throwing shade on Israel, saying we're not that bad. We're just doing what we need to do.
Right.
Which I can see him saying that. Like they're insane.
So what I want to talk about, and I want to get into, and see if we can find the video. Maybe we can't find the video. Let's see.
Did you see what Megyn Kelly said about Putin? She said it to Grant Cardone that she doesn't.
No, I know. What did she say?
She's like, I don't think he's evil. I just think he's tactical. Like he's very like, this is Russia. We got to do what we got to do. We got to kill these people.
Well, listen, here's one thing is you can always understand your enemy by empathizing with them. What does their world look like? One of the first rules of war is
Hamas.
What?
Can you sympathize with the Hamas and learn where they're at?
100%. You understand where they come from. They strongly believe that Jews and Israelis are evil and they've taken over their land and this is their land. So we're going to eradicate them. That's their belief. And that's what they hope. So one of the first parts.
Kind of like if Indian Americans came here, like all the people from Mohegan Sun, and started being like, just going crazy. I mean, what's to say they're not? Because then they have every right that the Palestine,
100%.
and they
Yeah,
just start all these little casinos, right, of the tribes start taking over different countries in America. They get bigger and bigger. I don't want to start anything now, like, but say, and you could almost make an argument that, yeah, we actually all came as country, made up our own little walls and stuff like that. They owned it first, but it's like, dude, like, we're here now, we're living now. Just get over it, you know?
How do we coexist? How do we live with each other? And again, it comes down to ego. It just always does. I'm better than you because of my beliefs. So
I think Israel kind of has a little, and I don't want to talk in a way, but they have that, like, we're Israel, we own so much, we have the Iron Dome. They literally lead with like an iron fist. You know what I mean?
what makes you say that?
Just and it's like the Israel pride. Like, you see the IDF things, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's like, it's good. It's like the Jewish pride that they have. People call, I don't know what Zionists are. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, so basically it's the reasoning of saying that is you're trying to label somebody as an absolutist, meaning a person who is so confined to their beliefs that no matter what, they will not be swayed. So you're a Zionist. You're somebody who is strongly with the Israeli force, the Israeli Defense Force.
Like, I'm a diehard Patriot fan.
Correct. Yeah, similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's
You're a Zionist. But if I call you a Zionist, what I can do is I can dehumanize you because now you're a label, right? So if I label you and call you a Zionist, that makes you not a human being.
Right. It's kind of like if all of a sudden I'm rooting for the Patriots. Oh, you're just a diehard Patriot fan. You're not going to see anything the Patriots did wrong with cheeky.
Right. You can easily separate them from being a human being to putting them in a category. And then you can say, I'm okay with that category being eradicated, and then forgetting that it's an actual human being.
Kind of what you do with Hamas, too, with Muslims.
Well, I would say with Muslims, I don't think people are calling for Muslims to be eradicated. People are calling for Hamas to be eradicated. Okay. By the way, the Muslim religion has just crossed over 2 billion people. They are recruiting people fast.
They got Andrew Tate, man. They got all those young kids.
And Andrew Tate is like, convert to Islam religion. And all the young boys are starting to do that.
By the way, it's so crazy. And I found this out with PBD's podcast. Once you recruit to be Muslim, if you try and un-recruit, they kill you.
They could, yeah.
Which is crazy. Imagine if they did that if you're a Christian. You backslid, you die. There'd be less people losing their religion.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's the one of the most beautiful things about Christianity and Jesus is him dying on the cross for all of humanity and saying to the guy who's next to him, today, because you stuck up for me, you'll be with me in paradise. Like,
yeah, the one thing that I think Andrew Tate did say, which I do agree with Christians, and I want to make sure I do this, like how Tim Tebow stands up for the Lord. That I want to do more of that because I don't think there's enough Christians, and I hate even to call it Christians because so many Christians have tarnished the name, but there's not enough who stand for the Lord, for Yeshua, for really their belief. I see more Muslims do it, but not Christians.
I agree, and I think
and more Christians are loving and accepting, and they accept such
BS. Because Jesus was loving, accepting.
Right.
But the challenge with that is they forgot about two things. When Jesus completely condemned the Pharisees, called them hypocrites, heresies, consistently throughout the New Testament, and then flipping over the coin tables and things of that nature, and then also when he comes back in Revelation, he eradicates 98% of the world, being like, listen, what you guys did is not acceptable. That is heavy. The only thing is different is and I'm speaking not in, I don't know exactly what the Muslim religion says. I should learn more about it. But is they have the right to remove people. Whereas the Lord says, I'll take care of it.
Maybe we'll go out with my Muslim friends, like Jad or Ahmad or one of my business partners on, you know?
Listen, I love people. I love everybody. So if you're Muslim, if you're Jewish, if you're Christian, if you're atheist, if you're agnostic, let's chill. I want to see what I can learn from you. I don't care. You know, every human being has a different experience in life. I could probably learn from them in some way. So let's get into our last story. And this is going to be an interesting one because it's our friends, not in the South, but in the North. It's the Canadians. What is going on? So, the Rainbow Bridge crash explosion not connected to terrorism. So, Niagara Falls police will now look at the crash as a traffic investigation. The FBI rules out terrorism and deadly Rainbow Bridge car crash. 2 passengers who were killed in the Rainbow Bridge.
Rainbow Bridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if we can watch the video. I don't know.
Watch the video. You can barely see it on.
No, there's. Let's see. There it is, right there.
That's a better
terrorism fears ahead of the holiday. Trevor Alt is on the scene there with the latest. Good morning, Trevor.
Let's see. All right. Right here.
Sides of the border.
Watch this video of a car soaring through the air at a border.
You see that? You see this in the PBD podcast?
Significant alarm on both sides of the border.
Right here, up at the top.
Watch this video of a car soaring through the air.
Canada sucks so bad. They were leaving and trying to get into America. Like, dude, I gotta get out.
Did the car go airborne?
Yeah. See this shaded area. Can I slow this down?
Yeah, I know.
I can't. All right.
Here, play it again. Just freeze frame it. So what does it go off? It goes off of a ramp.
Watch this video.
So they're driving right here.
Still not a great video.
I don't know if I make this big. Can you see it?
Yeah, that's better.
Of a car soaring through the air.
How does it get in the air? How does it hit the air? Look at that. That's crazy, man. Like
that. Ramp.
Does the person die in it?
Dude, this has been my dream, by the way. Like, whenever I see like any type of ramp, and while I'm driving, I'm like, oh, man, I wonder how it'd be like to drive and hit that ramp. That's how it would look.
Yeah, that's how it is. But it blows up, they die.
Through the air at a border crossing. Setting circulating online that put the U.S. and Canada on alert on the busiest travel day of the year.
I've never seen anything like this. The car just exploded.
That car speeding through the Rainbow Bridge, which connects New York to Canada near Niagara Falls, slamming into a Border Patrol checkpoint.
Yo, oh my God, are they all right?
A fireball engulfing the car, killing the driver and passenger inside, according to authorities. Tourists uncertain what happened, rushing for shelter.
When I saw how the employees at the gift shop reacted, I told my wife, Shayna, we need to go. We need to head back.
Law enforcement quickly swarming the area.
And I'm going to send you over to the custom bridge for a fire that's happening. Fires are already there. You're going there to block off roads.
Officials on...
That's a Canadian guy. Fire's already there. Walking on roads.
Both sides of the border taking no chances, closing all 4 bridges connecting the U.S. and Canada in the region, temporarily suspending international flights to the airport in nearby Buffalo.
Additional measures are being contemplated and activated at all border crossings across the country. We are taking this extraordinarily seriously.
New York's...
Our boy Blackface Justin Trudeau. So this is very interesting. I think what it turned out to be was... honestly, I think it was just somebody who was trying to get out of Canada and was like, man, I've had enough of them telling me to take my 8th booster. And I just can't take
there explosions in the car or no? Kind of sad.
No.
2 people died here, man.
No, I shouldn't be joking about it. 2 people did die, so that is not good. I think I don't know what it is. I mean,
cars. I've been on the highway. You've been on the highway. You see a car engulfed in flames and feel it.
Oh yeah, yeah. You feel the heat coming off of them.
Feel the heat makes me think of hell, man. How bad it is, you know.
Yeah, So people are saying you actually had to look at it and say, was this generated by AI? Because it was so surreal to see how high in the air this vehicle went, and the crash and the explosion and the fire. One booth agent was injured in the incident, was treated for their injuries at a hospital. They were released later in the day. It was a very congested area. It could have been very cataclysmic. Hawkall told the media that the investigation would take some time, as much of the vehicle was destroyed and debris was scattered over 13 booths. There is not a license plate, she said. That's interesting. There's no license plate?
Yeah, I don't know. There's maybe it was a terrorist thing. Who knows? And they were trying to do something. Only 2 people died, And
President Joe Biden was briefed on the explosion. White House official said. President Joe Biden said,
What makes that one more interesting? Because, here's the thing. That one got national news, right? Because it's the U.S.-Canada border. But, there's cars on 84 right back in Connecticut or maybe in Miami that explode. People die. A couple people die in them. Don't get national news. Why is this one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. So initially it was reported as a terrorist attack. So now all the reports saying it's not a terrorist attack. So who knows what's true or what's not, but that's why it made.
Yeah, I'm sure we're on high terror alert because of everything going on and people and hate crimes. I mean, I'm sure who knows, man. They're trying to fuel a terror attack to end their election. Like that's all we need, man. It's like we went to war because of 9/11. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think them trying to.
I would even believe if it's right now with the government and the FBI, if there was a terror attack in the United States, I would even believe it to be true. I believe it was all fabricated and made up, just like how they did it January 6th, just how they did Black Lives Matter. If there was a terror attack on it, just like 9/11, I think, and I don't think I'm alone when I say this. I think a lot of people would be very skeptic because they don't trust the government at all in America.
The one thing I've noticed is you tend to, and I'm okay with it, but you tend to lean into the, and I'm saying this in air quotations if you're listening to this, the conspiracy theory. The balloons came up.
Yeah. By the way, did you see our boy Jake Paul about conspiracy theories?
No, I didn't.
Can I play it really quick at the end?
Yeah, he made a crazy statement about PFL and Bellator.
Oh, what did he say there?
No, he just said we're going to be taking over UFC and everything like that. And I love his marketing and everything like that. It's
he won't find
they need to have a really good leader at the helm. Dana White, whether you like him or not, he's good at leading.
Yeah, I know.
By the way, so my father-in-law's brother, so I don't know what that would make him to me. He's the one who used to own the cigar store in our town.
Uh-huh.
You're not listening.
Sorry, I'm looking for a clip right now. So
you remember the cigar store in our town with the Indian out front?
Yeah.
So my father-in-law's brother used to own that store.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, so he knows everything about cigars. So I was able to ask him today. I said, hey, what's a good mild to medium cigar? Because that's what I really like. And he taught me something that was very interesting. He said that what you eat depends on your taste of the cigar. So if you have something heavy like pasta or something that's acidic, it will actually change the taste of the cigar. He said, so before you have a cigar, cleanse your palate. Good way to do it is take a bite of some chocolate, ingest some chocolate, it'll cleanse the palate, and then have your cigar. And you'll have the true taste of the cigar.
Oh, that's why they have chocolate with wine. They tell you the same thing. All right, this one, you told me not to say this. This is just.
And I kind of started forward thinking and realizing we're being lied to in so many different ways. Is when I had a meeting with a YouTube representative, and they were like, "Yeah, just make sure you don't talk anything about conspiracy theories." I was like, "What?" That's when I was like, "There's some high level, totally weird shit going on." And I kind of.
So that was in his thing. The whole point is he's aware too. Okay, me and Jake are on the same level.
Listen, I agree. I think there's
Listen,
a lot of
here's
things.
the thing. Fool me once. Okay. Fool me twice. It's on me. You're not going to fool me 3 times, man. They've been trying to pull these things on us all the time.
Let's bring this up right now because I always talk about this, and this is probably going to be in our show a reoccurring theme. So I really want to I want to dial this down. This quote, which here we go.
Which quote is this?
So it is.
I want to get my mic working. I'm so mad. Your mic sounds so good. We're getting there, dude, little by little. What amazing background sound.
We are. Don't even worry about it.
What?
This is
Albert Preciato today, dude. Albert Preciato had his mentorship call today on Thanksgiving at 3:00. Me and Arturo.
I saw on your stories.
Yeah.
So this right here, this by the way, is going to be something that we're talking about with the media, and that is this. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. The line from the play Hamlet by William Shakespeare. It is spoken by Queen Gertrude in response to the insincere overacting of a character in the play within a play created by Prince Hamlet to prove his uncle's guilt in the murder of his father, the King of Denmark. The phrase is used in everyday speech to indicate doubt of someone's sincerity, especially regarding the truth of a strong denial. That's sincerity, not Siri. So that's the media. And that's going to be my line. The media doth protest too much, methinks.
Methinks as well. Yeah, I think that's actually really good. You showed it up because I know you said that. I think of that every time when I see them like slamming Trump about something again and like, well, he's so legal. And listen, do I think Trump is totally in the innocent about stuff? No, I think Trump said and did whatever he has because he thinks it's the best thing.
The 3 things that made me go, dude, I don't trust the media anymore. Number 1, the vaccine, the vax. Yeah. They told us how safe and effective it was, and they censored everybody else who we knew of people who were getting affected and injured by the vaccine. You and I personally knew people that were getting injured by it and affected by it, but they were censoring those people. And they said it is the safest vaccine.
Uncle Marty.
It is the safest vaccine ever. That doth protest too much, methinks. Yeah. January 6th. It is the worst thing since Pearl Harbor, since 9/11. Wait a minute. How many people died at Pearl Harbor? How many died at 9/11? Thou doth protest too much, methinks. And then the last thing being the election. And listen, I think the election was won by Biden. He won. He's our president. But for you to come out and consecutively say this was the fairest election there ever was. Really? Really?
So, you know what I liked on PBD's podcast? They played Elon Musk clip of Elon Musk, the guy saying, all the hate speech. And they reminded me of something we would watch. And they watched.
Give me an example, please.
Dude, Elon's a boss, man. I really hope Elon's a great guy, man. Like, I really hope he means the best for humanity because I can see where people are like, oh my God, he wants to put chips in her brain. But some of the stuff he does is just cool, you know?
So we just learn what we can from him, you know, the great things that he's doing and say, hey, how can I apply that to my life? All right, let's wrap this up. It's 9:57. We've been going on for 2 hours.
Whoa.
Great job, Jeff. Listen, happy Thanksgiving. Jeff, what are you thankful for?
Thankful for my good, I said this today, my good hearing and good eyesight. In Proverbs, it talks about that. And I'm not thankful for that enough. I'm obviously thankful for time with you. Thankful that I have a business, Changing Life Consulting. All the people in the Philippines, thankful I can actually pay my people that help assist me. Thankful for everybody who trusts me with their brand and awareness. Thankful for the podcast studio I'm going to be building out. Thankful for all the sales that are coming in. Thankful for my wits, thankful for my salvation, right? Thankful for my foundation in the Lord. Thankful for Dad, as much as it drives me crazy sometimes. Thankful for you. Yeah, I'm thankful for a lot of different things. I'm thankful for our safety, man. There's people in Ukraine getting bombed innocently. Like, imagine if all of a sudden they bombed in Midtown Miami, and all of a sudden all at safety, and we have to do this, and the building smoking. Like, at the end of the day, I'd still be alive. I'd still trust the Lord. I'd still be fine, right? Or imagine they bomb Connecticut, and you're thing, and I have to worry about you. I don't have to. Like, I'm so thankful. Like, I think when you do see, and listen, do I think the media plays up all the Ukraine and Israel stuff to, incite wars and divide sides? Yeah, 100%. But do I think that stuff's really happening? It's really bad? 100%. So I do think to be grateful of it right now. I see so many people. The one thing I will say this is there's so many people saying, you have to put a voice out. Like they say that you have to like comment on this. Like you have to pick a side, right? People get so charged up, like, and I've seen a few people like that. Like if you don't post about Palestine or you don't post Israel or you're not talking that it's genocide and everything like that too. I get it. I get that people are passionate. I get there's life, but the fact that we have our own sanity where we can, tweet, even America, man, America's not great, but it's still America right now. I'm grateful for America too. And hopefully we can save America going forward in these next 7 years, What are you grateful for?
For me, really simple. My wife, my son, my job, Shimmick and Will, my cars that I drive, because I used to walk to work, my Audi, my Mazda, my health, my mental health. And that includes everything from my eyesight to my hearing to the ability to walk. My family, you, Christy, Dad, the time that I had with Jay, the time that I had with Mom. And I'm thankful that I have a voice and I can still speak.
Yeah, I'll say that too, man. Because I go and speak a lot, I lose my voice a lot. So I'm very grateful when I have my voice. I recorded content today for our new YouTube channel. And I don't know if it came out good. We'll see. June's kind of a stickler about it as we're rebranding to Jeff J. Cunningham. But man, I've never been more grateful for my voice as I made a livelihood out of it,
Yeah, 100%. By the way, what's your website where people can go find you?
The best way to find me is what we have going on for Black Friday special start now. If you go to getclc.com/mentor, getclc.com/mentor. I don't have a personal brand page up. Lucas is of top tier credibility to be up seeing. But if you go getclc.com/mentor, you can get the Black Friday special right now, which we got going on.
So getclc.com/mentor.
Correct. What about you?
I'm at joshlewisleadership.com. We're going to put links to that in our in it below. And if you guys like what you see, please comment, please subscribe. We're trying to grow this channel.
Yeah, we should probably start with the channel, saying that in the beginning,
Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of this show is just going to be, hey.
Oh, shout out to, I'm grateful for Nathaniel and Shalom. Shout out to Nathaniel with some good thumbnails, huh?
Absolutely, 100%. By the way they say my name is Josh Lewis, and it's Josh Lewis. So there's no H at the end of Josh Lewis, which is endearing. It's endearing, but we got to get him to learn that it's not.
We didn't publish anything. We'll get there. Everything's a process,
Everything is a process, including my camera, which is my phone right now. All right, guys, be great. Happy Thanksgiving. We're just getting started. We cannot wait to keep on bringing this content to you. Guys, please comment, please subscribe, please like the video so we can keep growing and pushing out this positive content to everybody. Have a great rest of your holiday weekend.